Welcome back to You Both Suck. This is a comedy podcast about conflict. I am Dara Pollock.
I'm Kunal Aurora.
And we like to start things off here with a fuck, marry, kill, lighten the mood. And so far we're doing a fuck, marry, kill New York edition.
Yes.
Since we're both New Yorkers, that's what we're doing until we just plain run out of ideas.
Born and raised New Yorkers.
Exactly.
Okay? Not like you come here and hang out and then you go back home to Westchester.
Right, exactly.
We're talking in the thick.
Yeah, Queens.
Yes, which is the worst of the worst.
I know.
Arguably.
I don't know why I deepened my voice too when I said that.
About right, because that's how it would sound if after smoking a Newport.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, so our fuck, marry, kill for today is New York City tourist attractions. Mm-hmm. We have the Empire State Building, the Oculus World Trade Center, and the Statue of Liberty.
Okay. I want you to start this off.
Okay. So I think I'm going to fuck the World Trade Center Oculus. Mm-hmm. I'm going to marry the Empire State Building. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to kill the Statue of Liberty.
Rationale, please.
Okay, so the rationale being, while the Statue of Liberty is like iconic and New York, it's been there forever, gift from France, whatever. And it has also a lot of...
Gift from France.
Gift from France.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Statue of Liberty by itself? Because by itself, there's not much to fucking do with it. I mean,
Sure.
You walk up to the top, and that's literally impossible for me. Then we're talking, if you want to include Ellis Island, I was like, Ellis Island has some really cool abandoned buildings, which as a Queens kid, I really fucking love.
Of course. Right. Who doesn't love a good abandoned building?
Love abandoned buildings.
What a horrible childhood.
I was intrigued by that, but then I was like, ultimately, there's not really much to do there. So I'm killing that. And then I feel like you got to marry World Trade Center Oculus. She's been through so much. Like, honestly, it's just been a long road for her. Fuck Empire State Building, because, like, I just feel you think of New York, and that's what you kind of picture in your mind is the Empire State Building at this point. So
okay,
that's my rationale.
All right, I'm going to go fuck Statue of Liberty. Marry
man.
Empire State Building, kill Oculus. Insensitive, I don't care. Okay?
I had a feeling you were going to say that, actually.
Yeah, Statue of Liberty, I'll bend her over that pedestal, all right? She's going to get that. Lift that dress up, let's party. Okay? I'll wave that torch for you.
Terrible.
Okay? Empire State Building, she's withstand a lot. A plane has hit her, she's still standing. All right.
Okay.
King Kong climbed her.
Yeah.
And still standing. Okay. I'm with the Empire State Building.
Okay.
Oculus, sorry. Gotta go. Gotta go. I'm not gonna sit here and look at this ribbed formation that looks ridiculous. I'm done with it.
I mean, there's so much to do in there,
it's
though.
It's a capitalist playground of trash.
I mean,
give me someone who can withstand getting hit by a plane. Give me someone who is the tallest building and then lost the title, then reclaimed it again.
Yeah.
The Empire State Building knows how to take its hits.
Bounces back. She does bounce back.
And that's who you want on your team for the long haul.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I respect your choices.
Thank
I was
you.
looking at this purely from a logical standpoint of things I need to survive, and the Oculus kind of has everything.
I'm sure it does.
Statue of Liberty doesn't really provide anything other than, she's got some nice curves, I guess. But
that's
you're
why
a guy.
You want yeah, that's why I want it. Give me that rusty bottom.
Listen. Ew. No. Gross. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that settles that then, I guess. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right.
You texted me out of the blue, which it's never out of the blue. We text regularly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I said that, but you texted me and you were like 3-hour movies. I can't do it.
No,
Yeah.
fuck it. Yeah, I don't know when this is going to air, so I'm not sure it's worth mentioning, but I went to see Oppenheimer.
Sure.
Finally. And we went to see it in IMAX, me and a friend, and...
But this doesn't just apply to Oppenheimer.
Oh, no. This is what I'm saying, is
Right.
I was thinking about it, and Oppenheimer, while it's long, it is hardly the only movie these days that gets made that's 2.5, 3 hours, whatever. It's why are movies so fucking long now? And it drives me insane because the day that I went to see it, we went to see it in IMAX, which is Upper West Side. I'm in Williamsburg. Going to the Upper West Side is like a trek in and of itself.
Still your call to do.
No, of course, but I mean, you're seeing Oppenheimer. I want to see it in IMAX. God
Sure,
damn it!
of
So
course,
you know,
I get it.
I'm not going to Nighthawk for that.
I went to Angelica, which is off the L. So technically, you know what I mean? Still on you.
So that was a choice I made, fair. And it's annoying of a trek as it is. But then it happened to be pouring rain that day.
Right.
I had to pack like I was doing an overnight camping trip. I brought extra socks. I brought extra pants.
Right.
Because I was like, what if I get stuck in a really bad rainstorm while I'm walking to the train or walking there? I'm not sitting in wet socks and wet pants like an animal for 3 hours. I would be fucking miserable.
That's a long time.
If it was maybe a 90-minute movie like the good old days.
90 minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm going back a ways. Fine. But you know what I mean? Like
No. Listen, I remember the days when you would pick up a VHS and it would say 85 minutes.
Exactly. The good old days.
Right.
And I was just like, this is fucking bananas. I had food in my bag. I had water. I mean, it was not
All
a
you needed
joke.
was a tent.
Exactly. It was a lot. And I was just like, why are movies and directors so self-indulgent? It drives me nuts.
I think it's because the superhero movies were long, and now every director's like, you know what? If they're going to make a 3-hour movie, I'm going to make a 3-hour movie.
I feel like you're probably right, but I also am inclined to blame James Cameron a little bit. Titanic was very long, and that was a long time ago.
It was the first movie where I had to, when you rent it, it's 2 VHS.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He kind of started that shit.
And the second VHS is, I believe, where the nudity is and all the people dying. So I think really you could just sell the second VHS.
and everybody would be fine with it.
And it'd be all right. It'd be like the perfect movie.
We need the lead up.
I know, I get that. I understand that. But I'm just saying that, yes, you're right. James Cameron did start that.
It's his fault.
But do you think that they should just get rid of the 3-hour movie, or hear me out?
Okay.
Because in India, movies are real long anyway. They're like 3 to 4 hours. You know what they do in India? The intermission.
Like a play.
Like a play.
Okay.
Do you want intermission?
I think that would actually make a huge difference, because that's my thing is I don't even like going to see movies in the theater that much anymore, because I'm someone who has a bladder the size of a fucking acorn and I have to pee all the time. Right. So I'm always like, if I'm just going into these movies severely dehydrated all the time.
You're prepping for this?
Literally, I have to prep for it. Otherwise, I'm getting up.
Just pee during the movie?
Because that sucks. Then I'm missing part of the movie. What if I miss something important? God damn it.
Can't you tell when a movie is playing that, oh, this scene's about to stink?
Sometimes, yes, you can, I guess. And I did do that at Little Mermaid recently. When I went to see that, I did get up because I think Eric was singing a song and I was like, I have no fucking time for this.
Well, this is because you know that's going to happen. Yes.
Oh, no. This was a new. He doesn't have songs in the original.
Oh, okay. All right,
this was a
enough.
new original score.
Okay.
And I was like, this is terrible. I'm leaving. I'm going to pee now.
Right. Yeah. I can always tell when there's like a lull in the scene that's going to happen, or they're about to, like, let's say there's a new scene and then all of a sudden they got to do the land. Right. They got to show like an aerial view of everything happening. Okay. That's when I get up to pee.
That's your moment.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I just need better practice about choosing my peeing moments, but that's kind of how I approach it. Is I go in, I don't get, I mean, if I bring snacks, there's snacks that aren't going to get lodged in my throat like popcorn. I fucking love popcorn, but the holes are...
This is so crazy to think this amount of planning you do for a movie.
I like to be comfortable all the time.
I'm
very
walking in
important
there
to
with
me.
nachos and cheese, large soda, and a bunch of crunch.
Oh, a bunch of crunch.
I'm taking down all of that before the previews are done.
I don't even have popcorn anymore because the holes get jammed into my gums like something fierce. And I'm like, I'm going to get a cavity. I take it seriously.
You're such a maniac. This is so wild. The holes get stuck in my teeth. You don't just deal with it?
It drives me insane. If there's
so
a piece
crazy.
stuck in there, I will get that nail up in there and I will be trying to get it out the entire fucking
I'm letting
movie.
my tongue do the work.
It does not, man. If that thing is shoved up in there, nothing is getting that out except floss.
Floss. Yeah, got it. Which, by the way, are you a floss rope or pick?
Oh, I'm a floss rope person.
Thank God.
Purist. I don't get the pick. I don't like it at all.
When I see pick people, I'm like, who are you? Get into your mouth. You have
in.
the audacity to let so much fly out. Why don't you get in your mouth with the rope and get in there?
And do it right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't like the pick. It's not for me.
I respect your moves here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I listen. I think an intermission would be better.
I think So again, completely off track, but to get back to your point, an intermission would absolutely help because my biggest thing is that I just don't want to have to get up to pee.
Yes.
So,
all right. Shall we get into it?
yes, let's do. Female 34 NYC.
Beautiful.
And the title. People are giving titles, which is nice sometimes.
I like a good title.
I don't know if it's a title, but it says, I'm sick of friends who only pop back up when they're single again. We love this.
Here we go.
I love this
Go
already.
on.
Okay.
Say that squabble.
Okay. I have a friend. Honestly, she's barely a friend at this point, but we've known each other for a long while. We just don't really hang out anymore. Like, it's been years since we hung out one-on-one, and we don't text much to begin with. But anyway, she does this thing where she pops back up into your life once every year or two, begging to make plans, blames depression for her absence, etc., etc. I've given in a bunch of times only to have her bail last minute or just have the one nice hang, and then it's right back to the same old pattern. And I forgot to mention this only happens when she just got dumped or broke up with someone. She's the girl who disappears when she's in a relationship, and it's gotten to the point where I don't know if I should even bother saying anything because we're not that close to begin with, so it doesn't feel like my place. She's done this multiple times over the 10 years or so that I've known her, so as much as I feel bad about it, I ignored her last messages because frankly I didn't feel like getting sucked back into this. She's like an energy vampire. Let me also be clear in that I don't have any bad feelings towards this person. She's a nice girl, and when I see her, I'm happy to see her and chit-chat, but I'm over the let's catch up soon for real comments in person that never actually materialize. We all say those things, but when the only time you actually follow up on those plans is when you need something, it's not cool. So do I suck for ignoring her, or does she suck for not fixing this terrible pattern after all these years, or maybe her therapist sucks?
I'm going to tell you right now, this was such a juicy submission.
I know.
I love a good rant.
Yes.
I love a good rave.
And details.
You know, this had such a good rave quality. I wanted glow sticks. Like, this is the kind of energy that they were. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Get those hands doing. What is that thing called again?
Oh, you're just stuck to that. Hang
there
on.
you go. What is this called?
What is what?
What
called?
you're about to do?
I'm doing the rave thing.
Yes.
The glow sticks. You know,
yes.
you do like this shit.
God,
it looks cool when you have.
What a
glow
disgusting
sticks.
upbringing. Truly, what a horrible childhood. Like Dara, for
Sound
those who are listening,
Factory.
is like raving her hands in some like like everything about her. I just wanted to give her UFO pants.
Yes.
And a pacifier and tell her to go stare into a corner.
Oh, you just gave me such good memories
Yeah,
of
no problem.
Exit and Sound Factory.
Of course.
Thank
Are you kidding me? All I want to do is chain cigarettes and wear shades indoors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanna lead off?
I don't know. There's so many things to unpack. Okay, first, yes, I'll lead off. I will say, I think the first thing I wanted to acknowledge is friends who do this, because we all have friends who do this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody's got that friend
The
who
pop in, pop out.
the one who disappears when they're in a relationship.
Are they even friends anymore?
That's what I'm saying.
I think you reach a certain age.
Yep.
Gotta cut them off.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I think we all have this friend, but I did want to address, I think, like why that happens, because people, I think, also take it personally, and it's definitely not something that you should take personally.
Right.
Because I think people who do this are kind of insecure, and I'm also speaking as somebody who did this, like, I think I did this once maybe when I was like in my early 20s or something. But I learned from that, you know, and I didn't do it again, because you'll have that one friend who puts you in your place and makes you realize that it's a shitty thing to do, and I never did it since then. But I think it comes from an insecure place and not knowing, you know, if you're safe in your relationship.
Pop out.
Yeah, that's why you do that, because you're like, oh, well, I don't want to lose my boyfriend, so I got to stay with my boyfriend all the time and not talk to my real friends. But then when they leave, you're like, oh, well, I need my friends again. It's like a bad cycle. So
right.
I think it's just that comes down to like the person being insecure, I think, in general. So.
And I also, this is the thing, blames depression for her absence.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I do think that the writer kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Okay.
Blames depression for her absence. That's usually what people who are depressed do.
Yes.
They disconnect.
I agree with
when
that.
you disconnect from a group of friends and then reconnect and you just need this kind of thing, I think, honestly, it's one thing to have a day to yourself. It's a one thing to have some time to yourself.
Sure.
But when you cut off entirely, that, I think, is a greater sign of depression.
Oh, no, for sure. And I was going to touch on the same thing, because I am somebody who has dealt with depression over the years, and I've done that to friends here and there when I was severely depressed. However, again, it's something that I recognized as a pattern even when I was depressed, and I tried pretty hard to just communicate the fact that I was going through some shit. I may not be the best friend at that point in time. Be patient with me. And mostly all of my friends understand, respect it, and it's not a thing.
Well, that's the key difference.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It sounds like this friend doesn't communicate.
Yeah, the communication's key.
And they've done this multiple times. It sounds like this person is always, I think she said, always blaming depression for it. So it's one thing is, you obviously want to be sympathetic to somebody who's depressed, but after a while, it's kind of like you're not helping anybody help themselves by just pacifying that, I think,
Absolutely.
So
my favorite thing is the let's catch up for real.
Oh, I love the let's catch up for real.
The amount of times I've gotten the let's catch up for real in my 20s, I'd easily be able to afford 4 good meals. It's not like life-changing, but there's definitely a lot of times when I can think about a person who's come up to me like, we got to catch up for real. Yeah. We should grab lunch soon. And especially in the entertainment business, the amount of times somebody's come up to me like, oh man, we should catch up soon. Dude, we need to get a meal. And I'm like, and I honestly, a lot of the times I say this in my head and it's such a childish response, which is, hey, how about let's not say we did.
Yeah, I mean... I know I'm not, but you are.
Yeah, right. It's that's like what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean... you said in your 20s, too. I get this in my 30s. I get this fucking now.
I just don't hear it anymore. Is that wild? That I just literally block it out entirely? Like, people have said it to me.
I thought you were saying that no one says it to you because they don't want to hang out.
Oh, no. I'm literally walking around deaf. To a degree, I'm fully deaf.
You just tune it out?
Entirely.
Honestly, that's the better way to do it because it's so annoying, and I know we all do it. I'm guilty of it, too. But I just feel like can we stop with the fake let's catch up?
Yeah.
You're not catching up.
No.
If you say this to this person every time you see them, just accept it. Just say it was great seeing you. See you in another 2 years at the next fucking wedding.
You know
what
my favorite thing in the world is?
Yeah.
This, so a buddy of mine, Chris, we went to high school with this guy. And he's still one of my best friends. And there's a lot of cast of characters that he hangs out with when he comes home. All of these guys... I don't see unless Chris is here.
Sure.
Right?
I get it.
My favorite thing is that the mutual understanding we all have. Like, I will see you when Chris is here.
Right.
But when Chris is gone, there goes the bridge.
Okay, I have a question.
It's almost like a nature thing.
Okay.
It's like, like a certain time of the year, the elements allow for it, for you to cross this river, because the mountain hasn't...
The fjord?
The snow hasn't melted yet. Okay. And you can, you know what I mean? But once the river is running wild, we will not cross this.
Okay, but so I have a serious question, because this is one of those things that I think is another difference between men and women.
Yeah.
And this is one of the few that I'm just jealous of. Did you guys ever even discuss this? I bet you didn't. You just said it's a mutual kind of understanding. Nobody has to talk about it, right?
There's only one person who's brought it up in like 15 years.
That's amazing.
And one guy was just like, all right, man, I'll see you. And I go... And we both nodded at each other, and he goes, we know exactly when. And then that was it.
See, that's amazing. Yeah. See, that's amazing. I mean, I think at this point, most of my close friends, we kind of have that understanding too. And like, there are people I can think of right now that I see at weddings with all my old friends that I grew up with in Queens. We just had one a couple months ago, and I see all these people that I love to see, genuinely. I think this person said it too. They were like, when I see her, I'm happy to catch up. Same thing.
Yes.
Love these people. Great. But our lives are so different. We don't live in the same place. Blah, blah, whatever it is. For whatever reason, we don't make that effort to hang out outside of that. And that's fine.
Absolutely.
I think that's okay.
100%.
Yeah. So
just be okay with that. You don't need to end the conversation with we should catch up.
Exactly. We can just be like, it was great to see you.
That's it.
That's it.
Practice it was great to see you.
100%.
And I think that this leads into the next thing I wanted to bring up is the idea of energy vampires.
Yeah.
And there's a lot out there.
Yeah,
they're out there.
Yeah.
And they don't operate in the dark.
True.
They're in the sun.
Okay.
These are like Twilight vampires. They can go in the daylight.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm someone who can sometimes be a lot. And I'm just going to go on record.
Are you admitting you're energy vampire?
I can be. I think I can be sometimes. Yes. It depends on the person. It depends on the friendship. I think I can be, because I think once I trust someone and I'm close enough with someone that I feel like, oh, I can let this person know all of my shit and it'll be fine, whatever. And then you have a fight or something.
I love that you're admitting
I'm sorry. I think I can be. I'm just saying.
I got to give you credit because I don't think I am.
You don't.
I don't think that I can admit that I could be.
That's the thing. I don't know. I think I'm at the point
where... that's a really good cause. Yeah. I don't know. But then... do I not have enough energy because I know at times I can be.
Well, that's why I'm saying at times I can be. I think it depends on the relationship that I have with the person. I'm not like this. Like most people, even friends of mine, whenever I say anything like, I forgot who I was talking to, one of my male friends that I've known for over a decade, and I was explaining something about my last relationship, and he was just like, you don't strike me as that type of girl at all. And I can't remember what the fuck we were talking about, but it was something about how, because he was like, you seem so like, he made it sound like I just don't care about anything. And I was like, no, I care a lot.
Sounds crazy. I've been hanging out with you for a few weeks now, and I go, this woman's very particular.
I care deeply about the people that I'm close to.
Sure.
It's more of like, if you're an acquaintance or something, I'm way less like invested. It's just like, but I think that's normal.
My energy vampire behavior comes out when if we're planning something, planning a trip, and you're doing the planning.
Sure.
I stink at that. At just like
you suck at planning?
No. I do also suck at planning.
I suck at
planning.
But
I'm saying like when somebody's like, for example, my girlfriend will plan a trip and she'll ask me questions and I'll be like, yeah, man, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. You give nothing?
I give nothing.
I hate that.
I give absolutely nothing. And I know that's a problem. I'm aware of it.
Right.
But I do think that my make up the difference situation, my redeeming circumstance is when we're on the trip, I bring nothing but heat. Okay. I'm bringing nothing but energy. Bus ain't coming here. I'm good. We'll walk.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Reservations fell through. We can't eat at this restaurant.
You're go with the flow type.
I'm good time Charlie.
That's good. Yeah. That is good. No, that's a different kind of energy. I'm talking specifically in the like emotional aspect of things, which is what this person I think is describing.
Yes.
Is like she's an energy vampire because she's coming to you when she's in an emotional place. You can fucking tell.
Right.
And it's like, do you want to deal with that at that moment? You know what I mean? And I know that sounds fucked up.
Right.
But if that person is not a super close friend to begin with, do you let them suck that energy out? And I don't know.
The door.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I'm self-aware enough to admit that if I am feeling like energy vampire-ish, I'm not going to dump it on someone I barely speak to or hang out with.
Right.
I'm going to my best friend and dumping it on them instead.
Good. God help them. God help them all.
Exactly.
I think that this is the other thing about energy vampires is that they only exist if you allow them to.
I literally...
Did you just write that?
I wrote, no.
People do this to people who allow it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's their entire existence is hinged on your ability to let them happen. So I think that that's where you kind of have to nip that in the bud.
Yeah.
And then also it comes down to, it's just like the person who wrote in, I think that they've got a lot they're kind of dealing with a lot themselves. Like they're allowing themselves to feel all this.
Yeah.
From this person.
Empath, probably.
Yeah, but this is what I think I wanted to get into, and I think that this might be a little harsh.
Okay.
But I think how long are you going to allow, like you're allowed to feel how you want to feel.
Yep.
Right? But for how long? When does that
yes okay
I think there's a certain time limit that we have to give ourselves also for the things like how long are you going to allow yourself to feel to let this person cause you to feel this way? How long are you going to allow yourself to blame your childhood, to blame your upbringing, to blame your parents? Like, I think that after a while, like, you got to stop telling yourself these stories or allow this swath of your childhood to affect who you are as a person. Like, my upbringing, I try not to talk about it too much these days because I don't want this to be my life.
You don't want it to be your story?
I don't want it to be my story.
You just want it to be a part of it.
It's not, to me, it's like a couple sentences.
Okay.
And maybe in a book it's a chapter.
Yeah.
But it's not the book.
Okay.
It's like I look at my upbringing and I go, all right, cool. abusive alcoholic of a father, emotionally avoidant mother to protect herself and the ones around her, brother who's definitely distant in his ways as well. And it's like, cool, this is what I grew up with. This is the circumstance we were raised in. But after a while, man, enough is enough.
Yeah.
You can't let the bullying you dealt with, the nonsense you dealt with as a kid, whether your parents or school or any of that, it's over.
Well, yes, I mean, I agree with that to an extent. However, I think you are forgetting a big part of that, which is you also worked through a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
You went to therapy,
Right.
you did the work, similarly to me. And I'm not free of issues. I've also had, and it's not a contest, but we've had different
absolutely
upbringings and horrible things that happen, whatever.
Right.
And they do still affect me sometimes, I'm not going to lie, but I try not to let it be my entire story. In fact, when I talk about it, I always try to tell it with jokes and stuff to kind of lighten the mood because it's very heavy stuff.
Of course.
But I think that that's the difference is like, yeah, you want people to eventually accept that this is like their past and just deal with it. But if they haven't been to therapy, and even if take therapy out, even if you're not a therapy person,
sure,
you're not working it out on your own in some way, then I think you are going to carry that shit with you for a really long time.
Yeah, but then is it our job to help them carry?
No.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Is it okay? Is
I
it
agree
our job to kind of entertain this? Like, you know what I mean? Where after a while, it's like, do I have to sit here and be like, or when do I get to tell people? When do I get to tell people they need to go back?
Well, that's the thing.
They need to go back to their therapist, or they need to go to lock themselves up in some which way, deal with it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that I was saying. Like, the person even said, does their therapist suck? And I'm like, clearly yes, or I don't know if the person, the friend is still in therapy, but if you've been doing this for 10 years to people, I would like to think that somebody in your life, maybe it's not this friend, because this friend doesn't sound like a core friend.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, this is not a core friend.
A core friend is somebody who can call this shit out to you, because I had a friend do that to me many years ago when I was going through something just very bad, and I was very depressed, very disconnected, and I kept like popping up, and she was just like, dude, I gotta tell you, like, this is really becoming a lot. Like, you keep doing this, you keep forgetting things and it, hurts to hear, but she was right. And then I fucking fixed it.
Are you still friends with that person?
I am, but we're not actually as close as we once were. Like, at that point, we're not.
You know what I think? That's unfortunately what happens.
Yeah.
Like, they throw that grenade in the room, and then the entire friendship kind of takes a hard hit as a result.
I don't think it was actually because of that. It was actually because just different lives. She moved away, kids, marriage, whatever. I think we would have still been friends, but we worked together.
Right.
So it was different. We were seeing each other every day in the office versus like now I never see her. You know what I mean? So I don't think that blew up the friendship. But that is the risk that you do take if you decide to be the friend who says something. Abso-fucking-lutely, it can blow up the friendship.
100%.
So it's a dicey thing, and I think that this person who wrote in is not the person who needs to do that. It sounds like they're barely friends.
And they're aware of that too.
Yes.
Which is great, but I still think that allowing yourself to get this riled up from the pop-in friend, you've created this energy vampire.
I know that's probably, again, it's like you teach people how to treat you, right? So, I mean,
Ooh, we getting in real. Okay. You teach people how to treat you. I mean, like that.
It's true.
No, I like that. This is some work right here. Shout outs to the therapist who gave Dara that nugget.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, but it's true because like it's the same thing with like how much are you going to allow? And I agree because to me it sounds like the person who wrote this in has allowed this person to come back in and do this every so often, and so you're kind of to blame too because you keep letting it happen.
Right.
So
nobody. Listen, you know what's great about this podcast? We get to do that.
We
get to be like, look at this submission and kind of be like, hey, listen, you are allowing this to, and it's, and like, we get to deliver that news because technically you came.
Right.
You came to the store.
You came to us. Like, this is what we're here to tell you.
This is an apothecary. We have all sorts of things to give. I don't know if I said that word right.
I think you did.
Okay,
Apothecary.
nice.
Yeah.
But this is, there's something that the person who wrote in said, and I think that this is a heavy thing that I think I do want to discuss.
Ooh, okay.
That last line. Her therapist sucks.
I mean,
Do you think that is the case?
I mean, I think a little bit it could be, but also we don't know what that person's therapist is actually doing. We don't know if the person has been seeing the same one for however many years.
Or even at all.
Yeah, or even at all. That's
right.
true. I would like to think if somebody has been battling with depression for basically what sounds like the majority of their adult life, that they would be in therapy, but everybody handles shit differently. So we are both advocates for therapy, but not everybody is. I'm not going to try and make that the narrative here, but you can have a therapist who sucks, and you can have a therapist who doesn't give you the best advice. So therapists can sometimes fuck you up even more. So who knows?
I've fired therapists.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's the thing that people need to get in the habit of thinking about. Mm-hmm. It's like, you got to ask yourself this. This is clear-cut stuff.
Yeah.
This is the way I look at it at a therapist. If I'm going to you for a couple of years now, and things aren't moving in the right direction.
Right.
If I'm having the same problem as before and it has not, and I'm not handling it the right way, or I'm still sad the same way as before, you are fucking up as a therapist. And you should be fired. I think a lot more times people don't fire their therapists.
Yeah, of course.
I think a lot more times people don't leave their therapists.
Nope.
I think a lot more times people don't have real discussions with their therapist. Like, your day-to-day gripes is not what therapy is about.
I agree with that. Yes.
Your friends can sit here and shoulder that nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's like a fun rant.
Yes.
Which also make it entertaining.
Yeah, right.
But that's a sidebar. Make
Exactly.
your rant entertaining. But if you're going to your therapist about your day, oh man, they didn't give me the right coffee.
Right.
No.
You're not in therapy. You're not doing it for the right reasons.
Right. I want you to go in there and start hammering.
Get fucking deep.
I want you to go in there. Do not go in there with the spoon and you go in there with a shovel. Spade. Dig deep. Tell me everything.
However, I agree with you.
Yes.
But that is not easy for everybody to do. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that.
Answer that question first.
Why
is it not easy?
I know, but that's the reason why people are in therapy usually in the first place.
They're avoidant.
They're avoidant, and they are not in touch with their feelings. They're not in touch with their true selves, and they're not discussing that, with their therapist. So it does stay surface.
A friend of mine, I once told her about like my therapy sessions, and she said, you talk about it like it's war. And I go, it is.
It is war.
We're fighting for peace.
In my brain.
For the land of Kunal.
Yeah, and you're fighting like with your own brain.
Yes.
You have to challenge your thoughts. It's not an easy thing to do at all.
You're at war here.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be so violent. And she's right.
Yeah, of course.
But guess what? It must be. I think, yes, it doesn't. In a time of peace, it should not be violent.
Right.
But ultimately, it should be violent.
Ultimately, the first few therapy sessions are going to be like Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
The beginning.
I'm on the beaches of Normandy. I am Normandy.
Yeah.
Okay? We must be and that's the way
you gotta go back. Yeah, you gotta dig deep.
That's what I think therapy should be. I think it should be a bloody battle.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. But the thing is, when you get to a certain point in therapy where you've been in it for a while, I don't think it's that bloody and messy anymore, because it comes to a point where you usually become self-aware, at least for the most part.
Yes.
And can admit to your faults. You can admit that you've done something wrong, and you're not going to come out of this perfect. Like, I think that's the thing, is that if this is a pattern for this girl and she's been in therapy for a long time, how have you not at least made any it sounds like attempts or strides in that?
Right. No,
you know what
there's
I mean?
no inroads here. Yes.
Right. So that's, I think, where the trouble comes, because like I said, I still have issues that I battle that are like deep-seated wounds, whatever, that pop up when things happen, and they affect how I communicate with people, and I'm aware of that. But it's nowhere near what it fucking used to be. You know what I mean? Like, I will at least be able to notice when I'm doing that. I'll communicate it, or if I do say something, I'll apologize for it, whatever. Whereas like in the past, it'd be like, I'm being passive aggressive and I'm closing myself off, or I'm doing all these unhealthy behaviors. This person is also doing unhealthy behaviors, just in a different way.
Right.
So I agree with you. I think the therapist might suck too. I don't know.
Yeah,
if there even
absolutely.
is one.
There's sometimes therapists do get the boot and they deserve it as such.
Absolutely. But you have to be willing to recognize when that happens. And unfortunately, getting to the point where you can make that call with a therapist, I think you have to be more self-aware than.
Do you think people should bounce
saying?
from seeing a therapist after a while? Like, you know what I mean?
I think if it's not, like you said, if it's not moving them forward and it's not doing anything and they're just kind of sitting in there and keeping it surface, or worse, just manipulating the therapist to think that you're doing the work, because some people do that.
Right.
Then yeah, you absolutely should.
What
Why
do you
waste
think
the fucking
about
money?
do you think that if it's done, just leaving a therapist period, where it's I think I've gotten everything I need to get here?
Some people feel that way. I feel like we're always growing, we're always working, we're always evolving. However, I have taken breaks from therapy before because sometimes I feel like I just need to figure some stuff out on my own a little, because I have been in places in my life where I become too dependent on my therapist.
Right.
And then it becomes this whole thing where I'm like, oh, can't wait to talk to my therapist about this. And it's like, sometimes I'll take breaks for that reason. But yeah, if you're not liking what it's doing for you, then yeah, absolutely. Or find a new one. But
I also think that you learn the tools you need.
Exactly.
It's time to take them out into the streets.
Right, exactly.
Time to take them out into the world.
I agree completely. Yes, take your new skills out into the world.
Yeah. All right. So let's evaluate this.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with, and I'm gonna say this. I think I gotta go with a "you both suck."
Interesting.
Because you've allowed this person to become this thing.
Yeah.
And it's listen, I get it. I understand that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times where you just got to be like, nah, man, you created this vampire.
Actually, wait, I think before we get to you already judged, so that's fine. However, I think we kind of ignored her last part, which was, does she suck for ignoring the person's messages? She asked that. And that part we kind of forgot to.
Oh, I will say absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, you made the right move there.
I think so too. Okay, so we're in agreement that we think ignoring in this case was the move, because I don't think it's her place, because she doesn't sound like a core friend.
No, she made a solid move there.
Okay.
Very solid move there.
Got it. Okay, so yes. Okay, so you're going with You Both Suck. I mean, I feel like in this instance, I am going to kind of say You Both Suck. However, I am glad that she decided to ignore this time around.
100%.
But you have allowed it a lot in the past.
Right.
So I will also say You Both Suck, but I lean a little bit more towards the friend sucks. But You Both Suck.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yay. All right. Another one down in the books of helping people.
All right.
That wasn't even a sentence, but whatever.
I mean, but I like it. I like it.
Great. Okay. So, yes, if you have a submission, if you have a squabble, and you would like to send your squabbles to us, you can do so via our anonymous Google form on Instagram, which is at You Both Suck Podcast, or you can email us youbothsuckpodcast@gmail.com. And give us the old follow on Instagram. I'm at Dara Pollock.
I'm at All Day KCA.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. And we'll see you next time.
See you next week.